The New Hampshire primary is on Tuesday night. Here's what we know right now. Hey everyone, I'm Chad Hasty, host of the Chad Hasty Show, which airs weekday mornings 8:30 to 11 a.m. Central Time on News Talk 95.1 FM and 790 a.m. KFYO. And this is your afternoon brief for Monday, February 10th of 2020, just a few days away from Valentine's Day. Now, it's not looking good for Joe Biden in New Hampshire, folks. Not looking good at all. In fact, it's a very real possibility that Joe Biden will fall into fifth place in New Hampshire. A new poll that was released just really overnight, Sunday into Monday. Shows that Bernie Sanders is in the lead. I think just about everybody believes that Bernie Sanders will win in New Hampshire. But Bernie Sanders with 27% of the vote, Pete Buttigieg with 19% of the vote, and Amy Klobuchar with 14%. And then in fourth place, you have Elizabeth Warren and basically Joe Biden tied at about 12% each. Now, Amy Klobuchar in the margin of error there of maybe falling into a third or fourth place herself if she doesn't have a good turnout. I think Amy Klobuchar was really helped out by Friday night's debate. If you're not a political nerd, you probably didn't watch the debate like I did on Friday night. In fact, that's why I don't think Amy will get a huge bump in the polls in New Hampshire, is because not a lot of people watch a Friday night debate. Not a lot of people watch these debates anyway, but especially on a Friday night when they have better things to do. But Amy Klobuchar really did well in that debate. Pete Buttigieg, he was targeted. He was targeted a lot, and I think you would have actually seen Pete Buttigieg climb higher in the polls if he had clear sailing all the way towards the debate. But he's been pummeled pretty hard by Joe Biden, by Bernie Sanders, Amy Klobuchar, and others for a guy who just doesn't have the experience to be president of the United States. Joe Biden released a pretty big ad targeted towards Pete Buttigieg and the accomplishments of a mayor versus a vice president and former senator. I actually think that's going to backfire a little bit for Joe Biden, because everyone knows Joe Biden's resume is going to be larger than Pete Buttigieg's resume. And I'm no fan of Pete Buttigieg, and I'm no fan of Joe Biden, but it really made Joe Biden seem small to compare himself to a mayor. And listen, you can make all the arguments you want that going from mayor to president is a pretty big step, and that being mayor of a city doesn't qualify you to be president of the United States. And I understand that argument, but Biden comes across in that ad as someone who's just totally dismissing mayors and local government, and to me, it just really looked bad. But I think Buttigieg has maybe been hurt by a little bit of that, and that's why he's not breaking that 20% plateau and maybe not challenging Bernie really in New Hampshire. But I think Buttigieg, he comes in second place. He's going to have a good night. Bernie Sanders is going to have a good night, and I think Amy Klobuchar has a very real shot at claiming that third place title. If Joe Biden finishes in fourth or fifth, listen, his campaign isn't done yet. He still has money. He's still going to continue. But Nevada is next, and then you have South Carolina. South Carolina is supposed to be the firewall for Joe Biden. If he continues to fall in the polls in South Carolina, his campaign might be done. It's just a matter of really after New Hampshire, who's going to run out of money first? Is it going to be Elizabeth Warren, or is it going to be Joe Biden? And will the DNC allow for either of those two candidates to drop out? I mean, we're really in a territory now, folks, where the DNC is so worried about Bernie Sanders that they may implore these candidates to continue on until at least Super Tuesday and beyond, so that way they can get to a brokered convention. I totally believe that the Democrats want a brokered convention. They don't believe anyone can win this thing straight out unless it's Bernie Sanders, and that scares the hell out of the Democrat establishment. We're going to talk about all of this and so much more on the Tuesday edition of the Chad Hasty Show. Here's what I have coming up on the program. We're going to visit with folks from the RNC, get their perspective on how things are going in the Democrat primary, and also what's happening on the ground in some of these swing states and primary states and Super Tuesday states. We're also going to visit with Matt Makoviak, Republican strategist, at 9:35. At 10:35, Scott Braddock, editor of Quorum Report. He's actually on the ground, just landed in New Hampshire, and he's going to be informing us of not only the Texas headlines of the day, but also the feel of what's going on in the New Hampshire primary. And we will visit with Terrence Kovar. He's a candidate for Lubbock County Commissioner's Court here in Lubbock. He'll be joining the show at 10 a.m. So a packed show, a lot to talk about. Tune in again on Tuesday. Most likely the Tuesday video will be a little bit longer than normal, as I'll probably still have a lot to say after a very busy show on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Follow me on Twitter at Chad Hasty Radio. We'll talk later.